Integration in the 60s in Hollywood wasn't a bit easy, even with the racial unions pressuring them. It actually took quite a while before the idea of a racially mixed big screen. African Americans had to face with refusal or approval as actors or in major filmmaking positions. It was very different backstage. While actors embraced integration, technicians and craft workers were indifferent. So imagine wanting to be a film producer and work behind the cameras. Now the only factor is you're an African American in the 60s. Hollywood was different in the 70s, with some of the racial tension of integration still lingering in the atmosphere. Around this time, some motion pictures released two movies. The Learning Tree and A Slave Rebellion, Nate Turner, were canceled due to projects diverged significant in terms of racial politics of production, meaning, even in 10 years from the 60s to 70s, it takes Hollywood to consider it's okay to have African Americans integrated on motion pictures, but they cannot release projects due to their mere exposure of the truth on how African Americans are treated through said movies. Things are drastically changed since then. Let's just say the movie Amistad, 1997, 20 years from the 70s.
Bad portrayal and stereotypes of black people in Hollywood. Through all these years, we have seen a lot of great black actors on the big screen, but it is hard to see them acting or portraying something different from the generic and stereotypical African American. The typical gangster or the drug addict are some of the characters we are used to see in all types of films. Black women are usually portrayed as sassy and disgusting persons. Black people are also portrayed as being poor or highly unskilled. Lately, independent black filmmakers have taken over Hollywood. Their intention is to make a different black movie. Do the Right Thing, Dope, and Brotherly Love are some of these independent black films that are having a great success, and at the same time, they are showing us a different and more cultural rich stories.
African Americans have always had to face many conflicts just because of the simple fact that they are black. Television has always been a very influential means of communication, and the ways it presents things are not always the best ones. Unfortunately, this depiction of black on the big screen can have a great influence on people and how they behave with African Americans, and the respect they have towards them. Hollywood depiction of black have contributed to the wrong public perception about these people. Thomas E. Ford conducted some experiments and he came to the conclusion that television portrayals of African Americans and other minorities have been shown to influence wise perception of those groups. 2007. The characteristics that movies have frequently imposed for blacks have distorted the way people distinguish them. Although it is not generalized, movies and TV shows frequently have presented African Americans as criminals or unsuccessful characters. The bad influence this tendency causes can be related to workplace situations. Studies have demonstrated that in general, white people receive higher supervisory ratings on overall job performance than black. Also, evaluators recommend whites more than blacks for the jobs seen as one that blacks typically perform. Stewart 2008. On the other hand, Hollywood has also injected a fear that comes from whites towards black. According to Baptist, many people tend to feel scary when they are near African Americans. 2008. It is not a secret for anyone that blacks are perceived as violent and criminals as it has seen on TV.
When the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences announced their nominees for the 2016 Oscars, people were surprised to see that for the second year in a row, 0 non-white actors were nominated for an award in the top 4 main categories, these being Best Actor/Actress and Best Supporting Actor/Actress. Though many would respond that there were simply no good films this year starring minorities, they would be ignoring critically acclaimed performances by Idris Elba in Beasts of No Nation, a role that won him a BAFTA, Michael B. Jordan in Creed, and the cast of Straight Outta Compton, a film whose only nomination went to the 2 single white screenwriters. This is not a phenomenon from this year alone either. Out of the 87 years that the Academy has given out awards, there have only been 32 black winners in the combined 4 categories, with the most recent being awarded to Forest Whitaker in 2007 for his role in The Last King of Scotland. The exclusion of these actors can possibly be explained by the fact that out of the 6,000 Academy voters, 93% are white, with the median age being 62. This high percentage of white voters could be influential in the Academy voting more favorably on films starring white casts than those starring minorities. This is not to say that the voters are racist, but a sociological term named racial empathy gap does suggest that there is a certain comfort level with one's own race that can extend to film as well. Though this is likely to change next year with the announcement by Academy President Cheryl Boone Isaacs that new measures will be implemented to a member's voting status. These include lifetime seats being removed, replaced by a 10-year seat that can be renewed if said voter has been involved in the film industry for that decade. This will hopefully alleviate some of the homogenization that critics feel has been arising in the Oscars.
In the article Black Talent and Conglomerate Hollywood, Will Smith, Tyler Perry, and the Continuing Significance of Race, it is said that Hollywood is one of the most minority-free industries in America, with barely any people of color in any high-level positions at any major studio, talent agency, or management film. The industry is predominantly white. The author continues to explain, the white men who always ran the film industry continue to do so, hoarding high-status creative and commercial work as well as the lion's share of profits. Many movies have been completely whitewashed. For instance, the 1963 film Cleopatra was played by Elizabeth Taylor, while historically the Egyptian queen happened to have a lot of melanin. Although there have been efforts to keep black Americans out of the industry, we still have very famous black actors and actresses. An example of black excellence are 2 black Americans who have regularly ranked in the Forbes top 10 lists of Hollywood earners. They are Will Smith and Tyler Perry. Both have broken significant racial ceilings. Smith became Hollywood's most bankable star, and Perry became the first black American to own a film studio in 2008. The article Black Lives Matter, Toward a Modern Practice of Mass Struggle goes on to discuss that despite everything that the civil rights movement accomplished towards the right of the African American community, there's a lot of work left to be done. Early 2015 gave birth to Black Lives Matter, which started out as a simple Twitter hashtag. Soon, it gained popularity with the masses. The hashtag has evolved into a very powerful and potent organization that focuses on fighting racism, social injustice, and police misconduct. Although lack of diversity, blaxploitation, and whitewashing are still present in the film industries, with movements like this one, they could be eradicated.
We want an immediate end to the police brutality and mob attacks against the so-called Negroes throughout the United States. Here is a man, a Korean vet. This is a black man, a Korean vet. Went to war in Korea fighting for America. Risked his life fighting for America, and came back to this country and was shot down by the white man like a dog. Not some Ku Klux Klansman down in Mississippi. This black man was shot through the heart by policemen in Los Angeles, California. And they are dumb enough to think we have forgotten. We are Muslim, never forget. You don't kill our brother. They shot him through the heart. And as he lay dying on the sidewalk, they beat that hole in his head with police clubs. You don't shoot one of us and then grin in our face. You don't shoot one of us and then shake our hands and think we forget it. No, we never forget. We'll never forget. Someone has to pay. Somewhere, somehow, someone has to pay. When a snake bites your children, You don't go and look for the snake that has blood on his jaws. Any old snake will do. Any old snake will do.